Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Journey of the Master podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you all today. We're going to have a really fun opportunity to talk about stop denying love for yourself for any reason. And we are testing out a new format today that we are really excited about. So Sarah Elizabeth is here. She's in the background, and we are going to continue on with our amazing video questions submitted from our master's class community. So we will get to those shortly. There's some really great questions for today. So hello, and let's have an amazing conversation today. The topic of our Journey of the Master podcast today is stop denying love for yourself for any reason. This message came through on a recent call with the council, and it was this awareness that don't deny love for yourself. And it really brought to our awareness how often we deny love for ourselves. And really, the wisdom of the council is all about bringing us into a new level of awareness. And while they answer our questions and do so in the most beautiful, elegant way, it really is about bringing us into a new level of awareness that allows you to consciously and intentionally create your life, change your life, and open up to all of the magic and the miracles that are here for you. And so, yes, it is the month of love, but we're going to take a little bit different approach on this. We've talked about self-love a lot, and many of us believe we know what self-love means. It is to nurture and care for yourself and to be good to yourself, to understand that we cannot give what we do not have, and to really be aware when you need to rest or slow down, or when you need more fun and play and joy in your life. And yet this is even another level deeper when you start to become aware of how often and for the littlest, simplest reasons we deny love for ourselves. So we're going to dive into that. And I'll tell you the really funny example of that the council gave in our recent Magic of the Unknown course. So we'll talk about that today, and then we'll go to some really great video questions. So hello to everybody who is joining us live: Dawn, Adriana, Rosemary, Juanito, Chantel, Susan, Bo. So glad that you are all here. And what a wonderful comment. So happy to have you in my life as well. It says the best thing to come into my life. Thank you so very much, Sara and the council. I'm so grateful. We're so grateful that you are here too. And the council has changed my life as well. I recently was preparing the introduction for an upcoming book that's being published with Hay House called The Wisdom of the Council. And it was really fun to write the story about how the council came to be in my life. I'm really excited to share that with everyone. But really, it was a result of that asking of how we live our highest potential. And everything that we talk about here is about living your highest potential as it relates to love and relationships and health and well-being and success and service and work and finances and all of those different things in our life. You drew this to you, really. You have drawn this information to you. However you came across the council or maybe our website or this information, it's you that has drawn this into your awareness to expand your consciousness so that your life can really be everything that you intended it to be. We call this the journey of the master. And the council tells us you are either mastering your life or your life is mastering you. And I don't know if you can relate to this, but I can certainly tell you there was a time in my life prior to the council's wisdom that I really didn't feel like I was mastering life, even though I was applying all these principles of success and goal setting. It really wasn't leading to that love and fulfillment and joy. And wow, when the council came into my life, it just opened up a whole new world to me. And you're probably having the same experience as well, whether you're new to the council or you've been here for a while. And we welcome everyone. Hello to Lee. Good to see you all on the chat here. And if you have questions, please let us know. We're also going to go to our video questions. So on our recent Magic of the Unknown podcast, the council brought to our awareness how often we deny love for ourselves for reasons that are sometimes just completely silly. And it's something that we do in our head. It's habitual, it's unconscious. A lot of times we're not aware of it. And yet it causes so much resistance, and it keeps us from being open and allowing to this divine source energy that is here for us in every moment to create our lives. And what I mean by this, it's those little moments where something happens, like you're running late, and all of a sudden these thoughts go through your head. Oh, you're never on time. Oh, you should have left earlier. Oh, you should have done this different. Oh, they're not going to be happy with you. Or, oh, you messed this up. You're going to miss out. And all of a sudden this flood of thoughts starts coming. These are moments when we really need to stop, because you might not realize it, but you are in that moment denying love for yourself. And as much as we practice self-care and self-love and nurturing ourselves, it is so important that we really be aware of how we deny love for ourselves and deny our power with our thoughts all throughout the day. The council gave the silliest little analogy of, someone calling you a poo-poo head on the playground, and just what a silly reason that would be to deny love for yourself. And yet we turn on the TV and we don't agree with something on the TV, and we start warring with whatever it is that we're hearing, not realizing that warring or fighting or argumentative energy moves through you first and foremost. And so in those moments, you're really fighting with yourself, even though it may seem that you're fighting with some external condition or circumstance. I began to practice this, and it really became obvious to me how many times throughout the day that I just completely unconsciously would deny love for myself and deny my power. And this has been a really, really fun practice, which is why we featured it in this month's teachings of the council in our February newsletter. If you do not receive it, you can sign up for that at saralandon.com. It's absolutely free. There's some amazing resources there. Maybe the team can even put the link in the chat here. Hi, Anne. Hi, Ahmed. We're happy you're here. So good to see some of the people that are part of our Advanced Masters class community and our courses, and some new names and faces here. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Brenda. We're happy you're here. So really practice this in your life. Begin to notice when you are denying love for yourself. Oh, I didn't get that done. Or, oh, I should do that. The council says when we should on ourselves all the time, we really are denying love and denying our power. So catch that word when you say, oh, I really should, and shift it to, what is it that you're choosing to do? Choosing comes from a place of power. You are a free, sovereign, divine being that is here to create your life. And there might be times when you feel like, oh, this is something I have to do. But sometimes when we just shift our perspective or how we're thinking about that thing, we realize we really are choosing that thing that we're doing. And you can then empower yourself and really align back to that love that you are. And why is that so important? For most of us, we really want to be in service in our life to our beloved human family, to nature, to animals. We really want to help people. We have this beautiful community of way showers that really wants to make a difference in the world, that wants to make an impact. Time and time again, we talk about creating the most loving relationships and co-creating and drawing partnerships and opportunities and connections to us. And yet, as we allow ourselves to be more loving to ourselves, we can be so much more loving in all of our relationships. That love that the council's talking about, not denying, is really the creative force. It is source energy expressing through us. And that is what can really do the impossible in our life. That's what opens us up to magic and miracles and really grand manifestations that come forth, not from a place of force and effort or having some big agenda, but really coming from a place of wholeness and fullness. when we start to connect into the love that we truly are, we summon that source energy and that creative force in our life. And when you really come into that place, you might start to notice that you don't want for anything anymore. You're not needing things anymore. You're in this alignment to wholeness, to your own completeness. And what that really brings us into is that level of pure love where our well being and our abundance is assured. It brings us into oneness. And that is a really important thing when you realize that nothing is outside of you the way we were taught to perceive it. You really are connected to everything. There is an intelligence in everything. And the thing that binds us all together really is love. So notice in your everyday life where you deny your power, where you deny love for yourself for some of the silliest little reasons, and just stop. I know it sounds simple. I really know it sounds simple, but it is so powerful to just out loud say to yourself, just stop it. Just stop. Just stop. Oftentimes, you can find yourself in an old story, or you're thinking about something of the past that is not happening now, or you're having this conversation with someone in your head that is not even there, and you will likely never have to have that conversation. And yet, we're denying love for ourselves. We're denying our power. We also deny love for ourselves when we deny love for other people. Just let that sink in for a moment. If you're arguing with someone in your head and making them wrong or judging them, and you are denying love for them, there really is no out there. You are denying love for yourself in that moment. You're really arguing with you. You're really judging you. I was listening to a recent community call for our master's class community, and it was this conversation about judgment. And it was judgment of others, that she really noticed that she was judging others, but what she was really judging is herself. And, have you ever been around someone that you feel like is really judgmental? I had an experience a few years ago with someone who had this just incredible awareness, aha moment that she always felt judged by other people. And she realized that she was so judgmental of herself, always judging herself, that people thought she was judgmental about them, but what she really was judging was herself. And then continually felt judged by other people. So what you're projecting into this force field of consciousness that is you is so much more powerful than we realize. When we're projecting love for ourselves and for others into this field of consciousness, which is where reality moves through you, you begin to transform all of your experiences to be more loving, to be more kind. And if you can't get to loving and kind, get to neutral. Get to neutral. I had a recent experience with someone in my life that I've actually never met. One of those. And I was creating some thoughts in my head that were judgmental about this person. And I went, okay, fine, send them love, send them love. And in that moment, I went, I'm not quite there, but I can come to a place of being neutral and love myself. You can come to a place of being neutral and love yourself. And shortly after I got to that place, it was really easy to feel love and to send love to that person. The council says one of the most powerful things that you can do when you think of someone that may trigger you, that you might have resistance around, when you simply just say, I send you love, and don't go into the story. Not only in that moment are you sending love to them, but you are sending love to yourself. And that's probably the person that needs the most love in that moment, is you sending love to you And so I hope some of these things are helpful for you. This has been one of those awarenesses that has really, really shifted my experience and how I perceive things, and just becoming very conscious of some of those unconscious ways that we deny love for ourselves and deny our power. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it's helpful. Adriana said, just stop. I literally will be driving my car and go, just stop. Just stop that thought, stop that thinking, no more, no more. And then I just start talking about what I want to experience. I want more love in my life. I want more joy in my life. I want more of those magical moments that just uplift you. I want more amazing people in my life. I appreciate all the abundance and all the well-being. And you just start moving yourself into a better feeling place. And that's what gets us back into allowing all of the magic and the miracles and the grand manifestations that are here for you. You get back into that alignment to that creative force, that source energy that can do anything in your life. So practice that. Just stop it. To hold yourself accountable sometimes for the thoughts that you're thinking in your head is also a really powerful tool. If you force yourself to say out loud what you're actually thinking, you might very quickly shift that thought. It's a very helpful practice as well. So play around with that and have some fun. Oh, I love this. I am in my wholeness. Beautiful. Dawn says there's only love. Be neutral. Love yourself. Send love. Absolutely. Hi, Dr. Trisha. Happy you are here. It is the perfect topic for this wonderful Friday. It's really powerful. Hi, Troy. Great topic. Oh, Lucinda, hello from Hawaii. We're so happy you are all here. So, as I mentioned, we have a very cool new format that the team has created for us to do video questions that are submitted by our Master's Class Advanced community members. And we're going to talk about them and answer those questions today. And I think you will find that just even the questions that were submitted, such great questions, bring us into a whole new level of awareness. Troy in our Master's Class community submitted a question that was specifically about how we can co-create with masters in a greater way. And again, masters is not meant to have a connotation that you're master over any other person or better than. It's not a hierarchical thing. It really is that you have chosen that you are intentionally going to master your life experience and that you are creating your experience. It's that level of mastery where you take complete and total responsibility for your life. And I thought the answer to this that came through in our recent Master's Class channeled call on February 16th was so perfect. It really was talking about how we are here to be masters of great love. And that when you are saying, I want a partner that is strong and supports me and takes care of me, or I want a partner that is kind and loving, that it really is our opportunity to get clear on those things that we want in our relationships, whether it's your significant other, business partnerships, friendships, your family, your children, your parents. Get clear on that. What is it that you are really desiring in relationships? And then embody it for yourself. Really begin to embody it for yourself. And as you create it within you and you focus upon it and really move into being that for yourself, you will draw to you other masters into your life, and your relationships will be so far beyond what you ever could have imagined them to be. And this truly is the reality so many of us are experiencing as part of being in the Master's Class program and focusing every week on how to live the mastery of this wisdom and coming together with others just for the enjoyment of being in the moment, in your power, and allowing the magic and the miracles and the grand manifestations to come from there. So many times when we think we're getting together for a particular reason with other people and there's an agenda, we really limit what can come through. There is always this divine intelligence available to us. There is always this flow of source energy. And when you come together to co-create with other masters and you just allow the highest potential, the highest good, the highest expression of yourself and of the collective that is gathered there, some amazing things begin to happen. So I thought the council had a beautiful answer to that. And thank you for that question, Troy. So Mark, are we ready? Can we go to the first question submitted from one of our Masters Class members?
Can you describe what the greatest, most abundant, like the best version of what is available to someone on Earth right now in like everyday detail experience? Thank you.
I love this question so much. Just the question, can you feel that? Just the question opens your heart. You go, yes, that. And I think the power is actually really in the question here. The fact that she has come into this awareness of going beyond lack, going beyond limitation, going beyond fear and separation into being able to ask the question, what is the greatest joy? What is the highest potential? What is the highest expression? And my answer to that would be to really let yourself feel that and don't limit it in any way. So if you're in a place that you can do so, just close your eyes for a moment. What does it mean to you to live the highest expression of all that you are? What is abundance and living an extraordinary life? What does it feel like to you? Your greatest joy made manifest in the world. What does that feel like? Your greatest joy manifest in the world. What does that feel like? The biggest dream in your heart. What does that feel like? Because as you begin to feel your way into a new reality, you are opening up new potentials and possibilities. You are stepping into the unknown. And you're already there in the question that you're asking. Just asking, how do we live the highest expression of our greatest joy manifest in the world and live the most abundant and extraordinary life? Begins to start moving the particles of infinite creation that are always responding to you, to draw to you experiences that are aligned with the way that you are feeling. It feels really empowering, feels like that state of pure love or joy or bliss or ecstasy. And just start allowing the divine orchestration that is always responding to you to deliver to you in your experience those things that are the highest expression of you and the greatest joy that is you. So wonderful question. I love that one. So much consciousness and so much awareness just in the question that was asked. Really good. And sometimes the best answers are the ones that show up as experiences in your life. Maybe get a journal or start noticing those moments of feeling great joy or a grand manifestation that shows up in your life or a magical or extraordinary moment, and just start writing them down and focusing on them. And you'll notice that more and more experiences like that begin to show up for you. And you'll come to the place where you go, oh, I know what it feels like to live this highest expression of an extraordinary life. That's what this feels like. And it just gets better and continues to expand. So great question. Thank you. Our next question.
Hi, everyone. We had an amazing discussion in last week's Master's Class community about truly living from our joy, our divine inspiration, just doing the things that feel good and that light us up. And I think for so many of us, our whole being went like, yes, this is truth. And I know that's true for me. I also know that there's this little part of me still in my mind, like in my logical mind, that has some doubt that if I truly live that way, like nothing will get done and I won't get the things I really want, which is just like the most glorious freedom and connection to divinity always, and abundance, right? All of those things. So I'd love to hear you speak a little bit more about how to just take that like last few percentages of the doubt that living from a place of like just doing what we want to do, just doing what lights us up, just doing what brings us joy, feels good, will truly give us everything we want. And to kind of release the weight of I need to do this and I need to stay on top of this and I should do this, all of those things. Would love to hear you speak more about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Great question. Really important question. I love this one. So the council tells us to follow the energy, let the light guide the way, to allow the next perfect step to come to you, to do what brings you joy, to do what you love, to do what lights you up, to do what you're passionate about, and that in the beingness, all things will be done through you. So when we're doing what we love, when we're doing what brings us joy, we're in a heightened, elevated state of vibration, a higher level of consciousness. We have an elevated frequency. We're more aligned to that state of pure love, which is what really summons that source energy. When we resist anything, we're resisting everything, but ultimately we are resisting that source energy, which is the creative force that can do anything in our life. So in the being, all things are done through you. In the doing, there's always more to be done. It's about being in that state of pure love and pure joy when you are most powerfully summoning that source energy that is the creative force in your life. Any sort of resistance begins to limit that source energy and how it flows through you. So when you feel like you're pushing and efforting and doing something you're supposed to do or should do, you're really limiting the source energy that is flowing into whatever it is you are creating or producing or doing in that moment, which means you are not bringing the unlimited power and potential and your full creative energy into what you are doing. And so I'll speak about this personally as a former recovering type A, goal-oriented, overachiever, efforting, I can sort of get it done and do it all kind of person. I appreciate this question because I learned to set goals and take massive determined action and to force an effort and to believe that that's what was actually getting things done. And that is what gets things done when you're in a level of consciousness where there's a lower frequency and vibration. So to answer this question, we have to talk a bit about different levels of consciousness. And I emphasize this is not about hierarchy. This is not about being better because you're in a different level of consciousness. We are all source energy. We are all divine creators. We are all pure love. And we're expressing ourselves in different levels of consciousness based on our vibration and based on our frequency. And that vibration and frequency is most often coming from what you believe, how you're perceiving the world around you and yourself, and the thoughts that you're thinking. So the thoughts that you are thinking are affecting your emotions. Your emotions are affecting the way that you feel, which affects your vibration, which is determining the level of consciousness you're in. And there are different levels of consciousness that include different levels of experience. So most of our collective human family operates in what we call the third dimension. It's a dimension of consciousness with a basis of separation, that you believe yourself to be separate from source, God, the divine. We're separate from nature. We're separate from each other. We think our thoughts are just rambling around in our heads. And we think it's all this consciousness and thinking is coming from the brain. And so in this dimension of consciousness, the third dimension, which is separation, we tend to think we are our circumstances and conditions. It's a slower vibration and it's a slower frequency. And so what we learned and what we were taught, and in those dimensions of consciousness, what people figured out worked, was to push and force an effort. And while you can create and accomplish things from that level, the council also says the energy that was present in the manifestation of your creation is the energy that will be present when you realize that manifestation. And so when you push and force an effort, it just leads to more pushing and forcing and efforting. Why are you pushing and forcing and efforting? What is the belief you have that you're not good enough yet until you get this thing done? Or that you can't be happy until you achieved this certain thing? Or you can't do what brings you joy until you work and earn an effort and deserve to go play and have fun? So the real answer to that pushing and forcing an effort is usually that you're coming from some place of lack, limitation, fear, not enoughness. So all of that resistance, and you try to push and force an effort through it, is just going to continue that cycle. When we start to ask the question through either some sort of awakening experience or some new level of consciousness or awareness or something that happens in our life, and we begin to ask the question, who am I? Who am I really? Maybe you go through some sort of disease or a near-death experience or a loss of a loved one or a divorce or financial struggles, and you begin to go, who am I? I lost that thing that I thought I was. Now, who am I? Right? When you begin to ask that question, you begin to move into what the council calls the fourth dimension of transformation. It's a bit higher level of consciousness where you have a little higher vibration and frequency, where you begin to understand you can transform your conditions, you can transform your circumstances, you can transform yourself, your body, your career, your relationships. And most of us come from this background of personal development, transformation, and we're always looking at what do we need to fix? How can we help? What's wrong and how do we improve it? And while this is more empowering than to be in total separation or lack or limitation and fear, we're always still operating from something isn't quite right. And usually it comes back to something isn't quite right about me yet. So I need to force and I need to effort and I need to do this thing. And as we begin to move beyond that judgment of ourself and our circumstances and conditions, and we really come into a state of pure love and oneness, and we really realize that source energy that creates worlds is who you really are and is who everyone really is. And you move into a level of consciousness, what the council calls the fifth dimension of pure love, of oneness, of unity consciousness, and you begin to connect with everything. And this is where we fully open up to source energy, and we can live from a state of flow. And it's about being open and allowing and welcoming and receiving and celebrating, where you get more of what you are, that the next perfect step comes to you. Most all things come out of the blue. Think about it in your own life. Some of the very best things that ever happen are those things that come out of the blue on some ordinary day when some magical, miraculous thing happens, or some extraordinary person walks in your life and changes your life forever, or you make a connection that is a missing piece in your life that just takes everything to a new level of opportunity for you. These things come from pure innocence, from openness, from allowing and coming into alignment with pure love. That's the state of being the council's talking about. Really, in your joy, you can get yourself into this state of consciousness and raise your vibration by doing the things that bring you joy, doing the things that you love. And when you really start to catch on to this, you realize that there is no reason ever to push or force or effort things, no matter what it is. We practice this a lot in our team. There's times that we're strategizing and we come up with dates of when we feel like we want to do our next course or when it feels guided. And then we really allow the creative process. And many times, Sarah Elizabeth or Mark or I will say, I sat down to do it and it just wasn't flowing. It just wasn't easy, effortless, harmonious. And our practice within our own team is to then go out and do what brings you joy. Come back to it when it is in the flow. And every single time I do that, there always is that moment when it absolutely just lights up. And what is created from that place is so much better than what would have resulted from trying to force an effort. And once you have some experiences of this, right now you're elevating your awareness of the potential of it, you're elevating your consciousness. As you do so, you begin to draw those experiences to you. And as you really recognize those experiences, you realize there is no reason to push and force an effort ever. It really is through doing what brings you joy and doing what you love and doing what lights you up and you're passionate about that has the most powerful manifestation energy, where the greatest, grandest manifestations occur. Remembering that the energy that went into any manifestation is the energy that is going to be created in the result of that. And so I get it to have this idea that we're just gonna play and have fun and do what brings us joy. But you know what most of us come back to? That what is really joyful for us is helping others. What's really joyful for us is uplifting others, being the love that we are in the world, making a difference in the lives of others. That all leads to connection. That leads to opportunities. That leads to expanding of potentials and possibilities. And so it goes back to that question, oh, can you really just sit around your living room and imagine wealth and abundance? You could, if you could really focus and stay in a state of joy and pure love and oneness. Practice that from time to time. Have fun with that. Take time for yourself and really elevate yourself into a place of oneness with everyone and everything, and feel that truly all the resources that are here for you. The council told us on our recent master's class call, there is more abundance on our planet than ever before. There are more opportunities than ever before. There are more opportunities for connection. There are more potentials. There is more money. There is more on our planet than there ever has been in any other time in history. There's more. And you're either realizing that you're connected to all of that through your oneness consciousness, through your state of pure love. And in that, the opportunities, the connections, the potentials, the possibilities, you will draw them to you in your magnetic, joyful, passionate, excited state of being. You will draw everything you need and more to you. And this is one of my favorite questions. And it is one of the things that I can look you in the eye and tell you, I promise you, if you do what brings you joy and you do what you love and you do what really lights you up and you're passionate about, all sorts of doors will open for you. All sorts of opportunities will come. And it is the connections that will change your life. The money is great. The opportunities are great. But some of the most priceless things are the connections we make in our lives. And think about how you are attracted to people. You're attracted to people that are joyful. You're attracted to people that are smiling and happy. You're attracted to people that are doing what they love. You're attracted to people that are passionate about what they're doing. When you become that magnetic person, all sorts of doors open up for you. And there's just opportunities that are priceless that begin to show up in your life through the connections that you make. And if you're holding yourself in limitation and feeling overwhelmed and frustrated, even something as simple as going to the grocery store or the post office, you have a very different experience. And the one other thing I would just like to add, such a great question, Jessica. There is an opportunity within everything that we do to change how we are perceiving it. And it goes back to a question years ago in our Master's Class community that one of our beloved Master's Class members, Jill, asked. And she was referring to her son And how is she supposed to feel joyful and grateful about constantly having to clean up after her son or maybe her husband, and the breadcrumbs that were on the counter and just the things that she really felt like, oh, they were leaving them there for her? How am I supposed to feel joyful about that? And it was just a very simple change or shift in perspective. And the council said, you know what? If for some reason he wasn't there tomorrow, you would miss those breadcrumbs. You would miss the evidence of his presence in your life. So it is how we perceive these things we feel like we have to do. When we can shift it to being truly grateful that that person is in your life, the love that they bring, the joy that they bring. Now, that doesn't mean from some place of aligned to your power, from a state of pure love, that you can ask for what you need or ask for some support in helping keep the kitchen clean. And it is really the way we go about it, the level of consciousness and the love in it, that allows things to really shift in our life. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you, Jessica. Love that question, and we love you.
Hello, Sarah, and hello, Council. I help chief executives and senior managers grow their ability to lead their people. I get great reviews and a steady stream of new clients and returning clients, but it never seems to be quite enough. And I'm always, my spending always seems to exceed what I can earn. It doesn't seem sustainable. I believe I'm charging enough from the feedback I get, and I'm working on other ways of generating income online with some success. I also put your teachings into practice and have done for many years. So my question is, what am I missing, if anything? What needs to change in my approach, or can I just maintain my efforts, be patient, trust, and allow what I need to come in time? Thank you very much.
Really good question. And similar one here that Adrian said, how can we attract a business to us without effort? Really good question. So first off, one of the things that comes up to me is when you ask the question, more clients, right? And we delineate in our life, okay, these people are our friends. These people are part of our community. These people are clients. And yet everybody's an opportunity to do what you love and to share what you love. And so don't be so putting things in a box where these are clients and I need more clients. Step back for a moment and realize you have an abundance of amazing people in your life. You have people that love you, people that support you, people who inspire you, people who you inspire, that everyone really is an opportunity for you to do what you love, share what you love, collaborate, co-create, and that you're not really looking for people that need something for you. You're seeing all of the different connections and resources and ways that you inspire others and ways that you experience abundance and joy in your life. Start there and just really focus on how much abundance, how much love, how much collaboration and joy you have in all of the relationships in your life. And of course, you can bring your clients into that as well, because they are probably some of those people. Because really the question is, I have a lack of clients. I have a lack of people who are inspired by what I do, or a lack of people to connect with. And when you really start to shift that you don't have a lack. And I love what you said, Chris, because you said maybe everything's just as it's meant to be, and I trust the perfect unfolding. And that's a big part of it. When we're resisting anything and looking at it and judging, saying, I don't have enough, I have a lack of clients, we're in resistance and we're in limitation. And most of the things that we come up with to solve that problem come from the level of the problem. More lack, more limitation. And then you always need one more client or one more client or one more client. You seem pretty confident that you are valuing yourself and what you're doing. And so I would ask you this question. If you could do anything with your service, with the work that you share with the world, what is the greatest thing that you can imagine doing? What would be really exciting and fun? What is something beyond what you've done before in your work that would be a really exciting thing to create? And maybe it's speaking to large groups of people. Maybe it's doing some sort of gathering where you're masterminding with these amazing clients that you have. Maybe it's creating a course. Maybe there's something that continually comes up when you are working with clients. One of our very first ones was time and time again in private sessions with clients, people would say, I want to manifest my soul's desires. I want to manifest my soul's desires. I've done this whole try to make happen what I think should happen. And I really want to know what my soul's desires are for my life, or what the divine plan for my life is. And so out of that just inspiration came the idea to do a course called Manifesting Your Soul's Desires, which changed our business, changed how we interacted. We went from one-on-one sessions with people to doing wonderful, amazing courses that were groups of people. And I never could have imagined the amazing people that I would meet all around the world just by shifting into doing courses, which then led to creating our master's class community, because a lot of the questions that I was getting every week in private sessions were very similar, and they seemed to change every week or two. And so we started doing the master's class call, which is a membership where people join and are part of it on a monthly basis. We do 4 calls a month every Wednesday, and then if there's a 5th Wednesday, and we just kept adding things from there. We started off with 1 call a month where I just shared all the things that were coming up for people in private sessions with our clients. And that has led to a global master's class community that is bigger than I ever could have imagined the reach of this work being. And so my point in all of this is, what are the ways that you can look at this through inspiration and excitement and joy? What would be something joyful that you could create for your clients, but really for yourself? So I think the shift here is getting out of this perceived lack of client perspective, which is just holding you in that lack and limitation, where most of the solutions to those problems are going to still carry the vibration of that problem. And you're constantly trying to get one more client, one more client, one more client. Come to that awareness that you have an abundance of amazing people in your life. And there are amazing, conscious, loving people in the corporate world that are executives and entrepreneurs and leaders that are blessings in your life, that are out there that you would like to connect with. Some you may know, some you may not. Get really into that place where you realize there's an absolute abundance of people to co-create with and expand and collaborate with. And then from there, let the inspiration come to you of what is something that would be really joyful and fun for you to create. We don't do a course that we don't want to do. I don't do a course that I'm not excited to take. There's some examples of that, but people might say, can you do a course on negative people and how to deal with negative people? That's not something that really lights me up. But a course on the magic of the unknown, or grand manifestations, or the journey of the master, or creating your reality, those types of things really light me up. And so you bring that joy, you bring that passion, you bring that enthusiasm. And Chris, I think you would just attract so many amazing people in your life. And it may begin to move the course of your business in a new direction. but you might find that that's more fulfilling and joyful than what you were doing now, not because what you're doing now isn't important, but because we're always continuing to expand and express ourselves in new ways and draw to us new experiences. So I hope that answer was helpful. I really love that question too. Thank you, Chris. I think we have one more question, I think.
Hi, Sara and Council. We have quotes from the Bible, from Jesus, such as, have the faith of a mustard seed, and you can move mountains. There's a quote from A Course in Miracles that says, there's nothing my holiness cannot do. My holiness reverses all laws of the world. It is beyond every restriction of time, space, distance, and limits of any kind. My question is, are we to take quotes like that literally? Like we can seemingly do the impossible? For example, can we go back in time, quote unquote time, and make different decisions and have different experiences? For example, someone who didn't spend much time with their children because they were working a lot, they missed a lot of their children's lives. Then can they go back and change that? Thanks.
I love this question. Thank you. We could do an entire episode on this. I was raised in a very loving Christian family and very much a Bible-based Christian religion. And I had a lot of these same questions that you are asking. I read with God, all things are possible, and something inside of me so deeply resonated with that and wanted to know that. And yet I didn't have any experience of that. There was a lot of different quotes in the Bible that I was fascinated by. And yet when someone within the religious realm would try to explain that answer to me, it felt very limiting, sometimes very controlling, and maybe didn't answer my question at all. I have read A Course in Miracles, and that particular quote is something that stood out to me as well. This conversation about your holiness, and that your holiness can really defy all limitation. What a great question. And then coming into that, what is really our potential? We are creating our reality. Can we go back and change things in our life? And so really good questions. First off, I have to say, from coming into the level of consciousness that the council has brought into my life and the wisdom and the teachings, I feel an even greater connection and presence to Jesus in my life, to Christ consciousness. And I think the original intention of so many of these teachings was based in pure love of what's really possible for us as we elevate our consciousness and our awareness. The question about moving mountains, I think, is an interesting one. And I think it goes back to this conversation about levels of consciousness. The holiness of you, the oneness, the source within you, the divine being that you are, is not bound by any limitation whatsoever. It is a part of you that is in a higher frequency. It is the I am creator frequency that is not limited by anything in lower dimensions of consciousness that we consider lack and limitation. So it is about connecting into that grander part of you, the part of you that is source energy. Jesus said that you can do all that I've done and even greater things, that this is the way, pointing to himself, but pointing to going within, to connect to really the God within you, the source within you, that holiness, and I would emphasize that absolute innocence. So when we're wanting to move mountains out of a perceived lack or limitation in our human experience, we are not aligned to that holiness within us. We are experiencing ourselves in separation and having an experience of lack and limitation. So then we're trying to push and force an effort, an outcome that is based in lack and limitation, like I've got to move this mountain in order to get what I want or be happy. And that's not really aligned to that state of oneness and purity and innocence and holiness that is the divine truth of who you are. And so when we really connect into that field of unity consciousness of oneness, and we focus ourselves into the connection to source that is available to all of us in every moment, the most extraordinary and amazing things happen, but not from our perceived lack and limitation. A perfect example of this is an experience of many of us have heard where, for example, a woman lifts a car up off of her child. It's coming from pure wholeness, pure oneness, pure love, purely in the moment, and no perception of a lack or limitation that she can't do that. The intensity and the focus in the moment and the clarity of what it is that she is directing that force energy to create is what allows us to do the impossible. That is only available in the moment. So when we perceive our situation of lack and limitation for a long time, and there's a lot of resistance about it, and then we're trying to move a mountain, right? We're not really coming at it from in the moment, alignment to source, that pure power of innocence and wholeness that is always available to you. And so I hope that helps explain some things. There are extraordinary phenomenon and magical, extraordinary, amazing things that happen, but they only happen in the moment. They happen by being completely aligned to the source energy that is you, your unique divine holiness in the moment, where pure inspiration can do the impossible. But again, that is that connection with God, with love, in that state of innocence and purity. Anything and everything is possible. I love this question about going back in time. And the council always says that what you want and need shows up even before you know you need it. And I literally had an experience of this right before I saw this question. We were doing our group 11 Learn to Channel semi-private series. And one of our beautiful participants asked this question. And it really reminded me of where I was on my journey with this work about 10 years ago. I had been in the corporate world for many years. I really wanted to help and make a difference in the world. I had this channeled wisdom coming through me. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to trust it and believe it, but it was really difficult for me. I didn't want to be weird. I wanted to live a very normal life. I love my family. I wanted to be accepted. I wanted them to be proud of me. And yet I knew that I was being called in a direction that many people probably wouldn't understand. And I was really hard on myself. And I didn't have a me or someone like in this beautiful master's class in our community here that was supportive and understanding and could help guide the way. And as I answered her question, I can literally tell you, I was having this experience where I was talking to her and there was so much love for her, but I really, in that moment, went beyond all time, all limitation, all ideas of the past. And I was literally talking to that part of me. And in that moment, I felt that part of me whole again. I felt that me that struggled so much so many years ago, really remembering her power and her truth and coming back into wholeness. And immediately after that, I tried to go back to the feeling that I had back then, and it was just completely gone. It was healed. And this was my experience. I've experienced it in a lot of other things as well, most notably relationships, where we have this opportunity to go back and explore another potential or possibility without judgment of what happened was wrong. Because the more we push against it, the more we are recreating that in this moment and perceiving it as happening now and continuing to be powerless to it. So when you begin to perceive other potentials and possibilities that could have occurred, when you go back from this place now of who you have become, and you bring the consciousness that you are now, and the love that you are now, and the wisdom that you have now to that part of you, that's what the council calls realization. Realization is the integration of every part of you into your wholeness. And they also say, in the moment of realization, the past is healed. And I had a very profound experience of that. And I'm sharing it with you in hopes that it moves your awareness into the potential and the possibility to elevate yourself into a state of realization and wholeness with every part of you. And when you do so, the past is healed. It begins to heal itself. And you'll recognize you just can't go back down into those lower level emotions anymore. There is a new reality that has been created here in you perceiving from a different level of consciousness the highest outcome, or bringing love to yourself in those aspects of you where you may have denied love for yourself. So in your question, you alluded to an example of feeling guilty, maybe having not been the best, for example, that you used, a parent that feels like they missed out on time with their children or opportunities to love their children. And yet just the judgment of that, the feeling of the guilt, the continually going back and recreating those shameful feelings and lack of time begins to just recreates it in the moment again and again. When you really come into the moment and do not deny love for yourself for any reason, especially not because of the past, and go back and love yourself in those moments. Go back and say to yourself now, from this wisdom and this level of consciousness you're in now, what you most needed to hear in those moments. Go back and remind yourself of your wholeness and your perfection, that you are doing the best you can with what you know at every moment, and that no matter whatever happens here, it cannot threaten your perfection and the truth of who you are, which is divine. And if you go back and love yourself in those moments, you will bring yourself into a state of realization. You'll come into wholeness, and you'll realize those painful memories or those regrets of the past aren't there anymore, because you've brought yourself and your experience into a state of oneness. And from there, the love, the opportunities, the connections, the potentials, and the possibilities that open up for you. I have done this in my own life with a few different people who I was in relationships with in the past, particularly my former spouse, and just really coming into a place where there's nothing but love. And what that has done in my life to open up love in all of my relationships is beyond what I could have ever imagined possible. And there's a love for that person where there's just nothing but appreciation and gratitude for the blessing that person was in my life. And you can move forward in your wholeness and open up to new love that is often going to be beyond what you have experienced before, because you have come into your wholeness, because you have come back to your innocence and the power within you and the love within you. So I hope that's helpful. I really love that question. I'm very passionate about the awareness of these things, like the original intentions of the Bible or Course in Miracle, and how we can bring consciousness to these things and really apply it and integrate it in our everyday life. So amazing call. I love you all. Thank you for the comments. I will go back and read them. I hope you have enjoyed this today. You can find more free resources at saralandon.com. We are going to be announcing a new course starting in March in our March newsletter. So if you haven't subscribed to that, we also do daily quotes. Join us for our daily quotes. If you didn't know that, I had a couple of different people say to me, "Oh, I didn't know you did daily quotes." But yes, you can sign up for those for free at our website as well. And there's lots of different resources there. So practice, 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 not denying love for yourself for any reason. Just Stop it. Stop denying love for yourself for any reason. You are a beautiful, divine, innocent, amazing being who is so very loved. And I know you have a whole lot of love that you are here to bring to the world. So be that bright, beautiful light. We'll see you on the next episode of the Journey of the Master podcast. Have an amazing rest of your day. I love you all. Bye, everybody.